Hello and welcome. Today we're uncovering the untold stories behind the iconic statues that grace the east front of the Capitol and the west front of the Supreme Court. These statues are more than just marble and bronze. They're symbols of America's ideals, struggles, and aspirations. As we explore their history, meanings, and the artists who created them, you'll see how they connect to the very heart of our democracy. So join me as we bring these silent sentinels to life and discover the legacy they hold for us all.
We will start our tour with the Senate wing of the Capitol. The Senate wing of the United States Capitol was initially constructed as part of the original building, completed in 1800. Following its destruction by the British in 1814, the North Wing, which houses the Senate, was reconstructed. Significant expansions were undertaken between 1859 and 1863 to accommodate the Senate's growing needs. My colleague Malcolm will explain the symbolism of the figures.
At the center of the composition stands America, with an eagle by her side and the sun rising behind her. To the right, the early days of America are depicted through a woodsman, a hunter, an Indian chief, an Indian mother and child, and an Indian grave. On the left, the spectrum of human endeavor is represented by a soldier, a merchant, two youths, a schoolmaster with a child, and a mechanic. This side of the tympanum also includes sheaves of wheat, symbolizing fertility, and an anchor, symbolizing hope, contrasting with the solemn grave on the opposite end of the tympanum.
Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to share the fascinating history of the genius of America, the central pediment of the United States Capitol building. This iconic work of art was designed by Luigi Persico, a skilled Italian sculptor who made significant contributions to the artistic legacy of the Capitol. Commissioned in the mid-19th century, the pediment was intended to symbolize the ideals, principles, and aspirations of the young American Republic. Completed in 1825, the design captures the essence of the nation's identity through its allegorical figures. At its heart stands the central figure of America, a powerful representation of the nation's spirit. Flanked by figures symbolizing justice and hope, the pediment conveys the nation's reliance on moral integrity and optimism for the future. Persico's vision for the pediment aligned with the grand architectural aspirations of the Capitol, contributing to its role as a symbol of democracy and governance. While the pediment has endured the passage of time, it remains a testament to the nation's enduring commitment to the values of liberty, justice, and progress. The genius of America continues to inspire all who visit the Capitol, offering a glimpse into the artistic and ideological foundations of the United States.
At the center stands a symbolic figure representing America, her right arm resting upon a shield marked with USA. The shield leans against an altar engraved with the date July 4, 1776. With her gaze directed towards justice, America gestures towards her. Justice holds aloft a set of scales in her left hand, while her right hand grips a scroll bearing the inscription, Constitution, 17 September 1787. To America's left is an eagle, accompanied by the figure of Hope, who leans gracefully on an anchor.
The Apotheosis of Democracy is a sculptural masterpiece adorning the east pediment of the House of Representatives wing of the U.S. Capitol in Washington, D.C. It symbolizes the ideals of democracy and the prosperity it brings to the nation. The pediment sculpture was designed by Paul Wayland Bartlett, an accomplished American sculptor known for his public works and contributions to monumental art in the United States. The design process began in the late 19th century. Bartlett started creating the models in the 1900s, and the work was completed and installed in 1916. The Apotheosis of Democracy represents an allegorical vision of democracy triumphing and nurturing the nation. The central figure is peace-protecting genius, flanked by allegorical figures symbolizing industry, agriculture, and commerce, pillars that sustain and benefit from democracy. The central scene radiates a message of harmony, progress, and the nation's growth under democratic ideals. The sculpture is crafted from marble, in keeping with the neoclassical style of the Capitol's architecture. Bartlett's work emphasizes not only the lofty ideals of democracy, but also its practical application in fostering economic and social development.
Turning to the right side of the central group, we enter the realm of agriculture, where life's rhythm is tied to the earth. A youth stands proudly, a symbol of hope and the future of farming. A reaper, stoic and purposeful, reminds us of the harvest and the labor required to bring forth abundance. Beside him, a husbandman leading an ox reflects traditional farming practices and the enduring importance of livestock. Nearby, a woman and her children work together to harvest the field, illustrating the collective effort and sustenance provided by agriculture. Finally, a ram and a lamb rest serenely, embodying the essential role of animal husbandry in nurturing both life and economy. Framing these scenes, waves cresting at either end of the sculpture evoke the vast Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, symbols of the nation's geographical breadth and its interconnectedness through trade and exploration. Together, these elements form a harmonious tribute to the forces that drive progress and prosperity.
The Statue of Freedom is a classical female figure with long, flowing hair, wearing a helmet adorned with a crest in the shape of an eagle's head and feathers. She is dressed in a classical gown secured with a brooch inscribed with U.S. and draped in a heavy toga-like robe fringed with fur and decorative balls. In her right hand, she rests on the hilt of a sheathed sword wrapped in a scarf, while in her left, she holds a laurel wreath of victory and the shield of the United States, which features 13 stripes. Encircling her helmet are 9 stars, and 10 bronze points tipped with platinum are affixed to her headdress, shoulders, and shield to protect against lightning. The statue stands on a cast-iron pedestal adorned with fasces, symbols of governmental authority, and decorative wreaths. The pedestal itself is 18.5 feet high, nearly doubling the total height of the statue. Topping the pedestal is a globe encircled with the motto, E pluribus unum, out of many one. The crest of Freedom's headdress reaches an imposing 288 feet above the East Front Plaza of the U.S. Capitol. Unlike traditional depictions of liberty in 19th century art, the Statue of Freedom does not wear or carry the knitted liberty cap, which symbolized the emancipation of slaves in ancient Rome and became a popular emblem during the American and French Revolutions. Instead, her crested helmet and sword evoke the preparedness and martial strength of Minerva or Bellona, Roman goddesses of war. This choice reflects the statue's design history, prioritizing protection of the nation over symbolic liberation. Importantly, the story of the Statue of Freedom's creation reveals that some of those who labored to bring her to life were not themselves free. Philip Reed, an enslaved African-American man, played a vital role in casting the statue. As a skilled craftsman, Reed's expertise ensured the successful casting of the statue in bronze at the foundry. His contributions, made under the shadow of bondage, are a powerful reminder of the complex history surrounding this iconic symbol of liberty and unity.
Touring the Capitol, one plan. Your visit. The Capitol offers free tours, but it's best to reserve your spot in advance. You can do this online through the U.S. Capitol Visitor Center's website. If you're visiting with a group, check if there are special tour options for larger parties. What to expect on the tour. Your tour will start at the Capitol Visitor Center, located beneath the East Front Plaza. A standard guided tour takes about 45 minutes to an hour and includes highlights like the Rotunda and National Statuary Hall. You can also explore exhibits in the Visitor Center after your tour. Tour options, guided tours. Led by professional guides, these offer a rich look into the Capitol's history and architecture. Self-guided visits. After the main tour, you can explore exhibits at your own pace. Specialized tours. Occasionally, themed tours focusing on art or specific historical topics are available. Check ahead for these. Arrival and security. Get there early, about 30 minutes before your scheduled tour. You'll go through a security screening, so pack light and avoid bringing restricted items like large bags, food, or sharp objects. Accessibility. The Capitol is accessible for all visitors. Wheelchairs are available, and assistive listening devices can be provided if needed. When to visit. The Capitol Visitor Center is generally open Monday to Saturday from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Keep in mind that tours may be limited during holidays or special events. Nearby attractions. While in the area, consider visiting the Library of Congress and the Supreme Court, both within walking distance. Don't forget to check out the Capitol Visitor Center's gift shop for unique souvenirs. Extra tips for your visit. Wear comfortable shoes. There's a lot of walking involved. Bring a valid ID if required. Arrive early to avoid any last-minute stress. Contact for questions. For more details or assistance, call the U.S. Capitol Visitor Center at 202-226-8000 or visit their website.
The Supreme Court building was designed by architect Cass Gilbert in a classical Corinthian style, inspired by ancient Greek and Roman architecture. The building features a grand marble facade, with 16 columns at its entrance, supporting a portico. The Supreme Court building was originally allocated a budget of $9.74 million. Since the final cost was around $9 million, it came in under budget by approximately $740,000. The Supreme Court building opened in 1935. Until then, the Supreme Court met in the Capitol. The pediment above the entrance of the Supreme Court building is known as the Equal Justice Under Law pediment. It was sculpted by Robert Aitken and features several allegorical figures. At the center is Liberty Enthroned, with figures representing authority, order, and liberty. On one side, you have figures symbolizing counsel and research, while on the other side, figures represent the guardianship and enforcement of law. The pediment conveys the principles of justice and the role of the judiciary in upholding them. There are two statues in front of the Supreme Court. Authority of Law. Located to the right of the steps, this statue was sculpted by James Earl Fraser. It depicts a powerful male figure seated, holding a tablet of laws in his left hand and a sheathed sword in his right, symbolizing enforcement and the power of law. Contemplation of Justice. Located to the left of the steps, also sculpted by James Earl Fraser, this statue represents a seated female figure holding a book of laws, with a figure of blindfolded justice standing beside her, symbolizing impartiality and the fair administration of justice.